If you're a former military person and you're currently in the federal government, it's important that you consider buying back your time right now. As we saw early in the year, the federal government was doing everything possible to fire federal workers, many times violating the law in the process. Even during the shutdown, when they weren't being paid, the government was taking steps through the current administration to keep firing federal workers illegally in violation of law. And that could have serious consequences for your retirement if you don't act quickly. So if you're RIF'd, if you're fired, or even if you accept a VERA, you will be gone from the federal government and it's too late. You have to buy back time while you're in the federal government. You can't do it after. Not only that, but in normal times, it takes 3 to 6 months to get everything set up. Between dealing with DFAS and your HR, 3 to 6 months is the norm. And now that they have fewer people working in each agency, that could take even longer. So even if you wanted to do it, it would take a long time. And as I said, if you want to take a VERA or a VSIP, or if you're RIF'd and fired, if that paperwork is not completed before you leave, you won't get it. So let's go over the basics. Why would you need to buy back time, and what does it even mean? So if you are in the military and you are there for 20 years, you get a certain pension. If you left before 20 years, you don't get that pension. If you leave before 20 years, you won't get that full pension. And many people after the military go to work in the federal government. So about a third of federal workers are former military. And when you're in the government, you are contributing to FERS, 3% of your salary. But you weren't contributing that 3% while you're in the military. So if you have, let's say, 16 years of federal service and you need 20 to accept a VERA, then buying back that federal time could mean the difference about whether you're eligible for a VERA or a discontinued service retirement, which would give you a full pension when you leave the federal government. And if that's the difference between you being able to retire and not on a full pension or not, it's definitely worth looking at right now. So again, if this person has 16 years of service, no VERA, no DSR, no full pension, if you can add your military service by buying back the time, and that'll take you to 20, that opens up a lot of benefits. So because you are paying 3% of your salary into FERS while you're in the federal government civilian and you're not in the military, then if you had 4 years of service, then you would take the combined salary of those 4 years and you would times it by 3%, and then you would be considered bought in. So if you leave the military and you start working in the federal government and you buy in within the first 3 years, you don't have to pay interest on that. If you wait, which many people do, you can still buy in as long as you're still in the federal government. But for the years that past those 3 years, they're going to charge you interest. How much interest? It varies. So in years when the Fed fund rate is high, you're going to pay a lot of interest, and in years where it's lower, you would pay less. But you would figure out what year you left the military and get a rough estimate, but they have a calculator that I'll put in the comments, and this is through the DoD, and it'll estimate how much you'd have to pay based on your salary and your time in service and when you were in service. But as I said, if it's the difference between 20 years and not by buying back your service, to me, it's almost a no-brainer. And even if you wouldn't hit the 20 years by buying back your service, if you think you might be RIF'd, if you think you might be fired, it might be a good idea to consider anyway, because you can't do it after you leave. And even if you started the process right now, in normal times, it takes 3 to 6 months, and it would probably take longer than that because many agencies have 20-25% fewer people, and so this might take longer to process. And so even if you wanted to put in for your retirement later under an MRA plus 10, a deferred or postponed pension, if you did not get the buyback forms and everything squared away before you left the federal government, it would be too late. So I mentioned it's usually a good deal to buy back your time. Is there any time that it's not a great idea to buy back your time? Yes. If you stayed in the military the full 20 years and you're getting a full pension, you would not want to buy back your time generally, because the federal government does not allow you to double dip on pensions, so you can get a military pension. But if you wanted the civilian pension, you couldn't buy back that time and get credit for the time in both retirement plans. So you can get the full military pension, and then if you did 20 years of federal service, you can get the full federal pension, but you couldn't buy that military time and be getting paid the military pension and use that time towards your civilian pension. You can't double dip on that counting. There is an exemption if you're on a military disability, and in most cases, you can still collect a military disability pension if it's service related, and your federal pension, and buy back your time. But that's something that you would need to check with HR, because the rules are very specialized about that. So it's fact specific, but that is one of the exemptions. So the interesting thing about buying back your time is it is based on your base pay. It doesn't include things like your housing allowance and things like that. So generally, service members are woefully underpaid. And I say this as somebody whose sister was in the Army and whose cousin retired from the Marine Corps as a gunnery sergeant. They don't get paid what they should get paid. However, that can work in your favor, because if you were making $30,000 or $40,000 as an enlisted person, and in the government you're making $100,000, you're buying back based on 3% of your military salary, and your pension will be based on your higher civilian salary. So that's why normally it makes sense to buy back your time. And here's two examples. This is if he did not buy back his time. So if he makes $100,000 a year as a civilian for 20 years, and he gets 1% of that, that leads to $1,667 a month. Now, if the person bought back 8 years of military service, then that 100,000 times 28 years instead of 20 times 1%, that's 28K or $2,300 a month. So 1677 or 2333. 1667, 2333. So buying back your time, as I said, generally a good idea, especially considering that the buyback amount is 3% of your military salary, and then you're adding that to your civilian pension, which is at a higher salary. And as I said, if you do the buyback within your first 3 years of federal service, you don't pay any interest. And if you do it now and it's been more than 3 years, the amount you pay will vary based on what the interest rate was between now and when you separated. And there's a calculator that I'll put in the notes, but if you want to do a back of the envelope math, just figure 6%. So here's the estimator. I will put it in the show notes. And as I said, the interest will vary year by year, and when you put it in that calculator, it will figure it out for you. And in case you're wondering, my name's Pete. I'm a attorney with 25 years experience. I worked in the federal government for 22 years, and I took a VERA on January 1st of this year, and I was putting out these videos to help people navigate the process. I realized I hadn't talked about buying back military time, so I thought this was a good one to do. So if you got something out of this, just like and subscribe, and leave a comment below and let me know if you'd like to see other videos and what they should be on. I have been talking to an attorney who does labor law, and I thought I could have him on as a guest and answer some of the more complicated questions in the comments that I didn't feel comfortable answering myself, because I'm not a labor lawyer. And since I am a lawyer, I'll give you the disclaimer. Everything here is for educational, informational purposes only, and is not intended to be legal advice, and doesn't create an attorney-client privilege relationship between you and I. So for your own questions, you should speak to your own legal counsel or your financial planner. Having said that, as we go into the holidays, I was shocked by what they put you guys through during the shutdown, not paying you and trying to fire you. So I know some of you are thinking about leaving, some of you are thinking about staying. And during the holidays, this stuff is not what you should be thinking about or generally would be thinking about. But, just a reminder that the shutdown ended, but they only kicked the can down the road until January. And in January, we might have another shutdown, another big fight. And if there is no one to process your paperwork, that 3 to 6 months, as I said, which might be longer now, might be even longer because there's no one there to receive it. So I know you don't want to think about paperwork during the holidays and Christmas, but this is something that you should definitely move to the front of the line. Anyway, as I said, like and subscribe so you'll see future updates. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to support the channel, but don't feel like you have to. And let me know in the comments what you think about this video and what you'd like to see future videos on. Have a great day, everyone.